Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV by Bagbagide Imo TV. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Drug abuse. FG urged to declare state of emergency. 8 months withheld salaries. ASU may consider legal action against FG. Governor Boni orders release of minor who insulted him on social media. To the next headline. Police ban Christmas, New Year street carnivals in Oshun. Apprehension as police detain journalists for hours. On the next news, female hunters join fight against bandits in Taraba. And to foreign story, Dutch Prime Minister apologizes for 250 years of slavery. And lastly, on sport, Super Eagles dropped 3 places in latest FIFA ranking. Now the news in detail. A community self-help group for youth development, Gayamfo, in Gandu Albasa area of Kano metropolis has called on the federal government and state government to declare a state of emergency on drug abuse as it is becoming an issue that needs a collective effort to prevent. The group, in collaboration with a committee of elders working for the betterment of orphans in the community, made the call during a one-day sensitization lecture for youth on the dangers of drug abuse and how it can be cured and prevented. The keynote speaker, Rabiu Mohammed Faye, who delivered a lecture titled Dangers of Drug Abuse on Human Health, said the menace was alarming because of a 2018 report which showed that 14.3 million out of 275 million global drug addicts were Nigerian and increases day by day. Moving on to the next story as regards ASU. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has vowed to fight on until the withheld 8 month salaries of its members during the period of the recently suspended strike are paid to them in full. To this end, the lecturers might be considering instituting a suit against the federal government in a bid to compel it to release the withheld salaries to them. ASU President Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke has however expressed reservation about approaching the court over what he terms slow dispensation of justice in Nigeria. Oshodeke, in a telephone interview with the Nigerian Tribune, said going to court in Nigeria is time wasting, as such the union would continue to explore other means of compelling government to pay the outstanding salary arrears due to its members. However, some members of ASU who spoke with correspondents over the withheld salaries as a result of non-work, no-pay policy invoked by the federal government insisted that taking legal action against the federal government could not be ruled out if the current option being adopted fails to yield positive results. ASU had embarked on the protracted strike on February 14, 2022, over failure of the federal government to meet the demands of the union. The strike was eventually suspended on Friday, October 14, 2022, based on the orders of the Courts of Appeal, which mandated the union to suspend the strike in obedience to earlier ruling of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. To the next story, Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State has ordered the release of 16-year-old Umar Garba, who insulted him on social media. The move is coming 10 days after Umar's arrest by police authorities in the state. In a press statement on Tuesday, Mamman Mohammed, the Director General of Press and Media Affairs to Governor Buni, indicated that his principal was unaware of the arrest and detention, saying it was grossly unnecessary to arrest anyone for insulting or criticizing him. This is the price of leadership, and we are fully conscious of it. Therefore, I couldn't have ordered nor condoned the detention of anyone. Until someone drew my attention to it, I wasn't aware of his arrest and detention. I have now directed his immediate release from detention, Governor Boni was quoted as saying. The statement further explains, although the Boni administration runs an open government, contributions and criticism should be constructive and meaningful. Moving on to the next story. Osun State Police Command on Tuesday in Osogbo announced a ban on street carnivals during the Christmas and New Year celebrations in the state. Police spokesperson SP Yemisi Opalola stated that the ban was put in place to prevent miscreants from causing mayhem under the guise of street carnivals. In the police effort to guarantee peaceful Christmas and New Year celebrations in the state, we advise members of the public, especially youth, that annual street carnivals are prohibited for this period. Intelligence availed the command suggests that miscreants plan to carry out mayhem in the guise of street carnivals. Street carnivals will therefore not be tolerated in whatever form or guise. All organizers of carnivals are enjoined to hire homes or use good compounds to celebrate the festivals. Parents and guardians are equally warned to advise their children and words to shun any acts that could jeopardize the peace of this season. To the next story. There was apprehension among journalists in Abuja on Monday following the detention of the religious affairs and civil society correspondent of Vanguard newspapers Luminous Jamike on orders of the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Federal Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, Johnson Babatunde Kokumo. The Punch was informed that he appeared before the police with Vanguard Assistant Editor Defense Crime Desk, Kingsley Omonobi. Several calls, SMS, and WhatsApp messages sent to the spokesperson for the FCT Police Command, Josephine Ade, were not replied to. But a copy of police invitation letter was signed by the Punch in Abuja on Monday evening. He was said to have been detained for 5 hours at the FCIID facility in Abuja and later granted bail. Jamike, in a Facebook post, wrote, "I've been released by the Federal Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department. I was released on bail at exactly 3:59 p.m. today, Monday, that's yesterday, and I'm very sure to return anytime my presence is required." To the next story on the world news from DGI TV. Female hunters have joined their male counterparts in fighting bandits in Taraba State. Findings reveal that many married and single women are now part of the Hunters Association, participating in fighting bandits across the state. A female hunter, Awahu Lowell, told City and Crime that they joined the Hunters Association to help in the fight against activities of bandits in the state. She said many people, including their husbands and children, were killed by the bandits in many parts of the state, while girls and housewives were abducted and raped by bandits in parts of Karim Lamido, Gasol, and Bali local government areas of Taraba State. She said that atrocities committed by bandits against women had forced many women to join the Hunters Association to fight bandits in the state. The courage and determination by women in fighting criminals and bandits had resulted in the inauguration of Abiba Isa as leader of female hunters for the Northeast region. The woman leader, shortly after her inauguration by National Chairman of Hunters Association, Umar Mohammed Tola Indingi, said female hunters are now given recognition by the male-dominated association. She said female hunters were courageous and determined to help in the fight against bandits, adding that female hunters contributed greatly in the fight against Boko Haram in the past and are now repeating the same faith. To the foreign story. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte on Monday officially apologized for 250 years of the Netherlands' involvement in slavery, calling it a crime against humanity. The apology comes almost 150 years after the end of slavery in the European countries' overseas colonies, which included Suriname in South America, Indonesia in the East, and Caribbean islands such as Curacao and Aruba. In the first of the former Dutch colonies to react, Aruba's Prime Minister Evelyn Wever-Kroes accepted the apology, but others deployed a lack of concrete action or dialogue. Today, on behalf of the Dutch government, I apologize for the past actions of the Dutch state, Rutte said in a speech, repeating the apology in English as he uses his native language. The Dutch state of Netherlands bear responsibility for the great suffering inflicted on enslaved people and their descendants, Rutte told an audience at the National Archives in The Hague. Lastly, on the world news is a sports story. The Super Eagles have dropped their position in the latest Federation of International Football Federation FIFA men's ranking. The three-time African champions were previously ranked 32, but are now in the 35th position. Jose Pesero's side also dropped from 4th to 5th position in Africa. The Atlant Lions of Morocco, Teranga Lions of Senegal, Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, and Indomitable Lions of Cameroon are The African teams are ahead of the Super Eagles in the ranking. The Super Eagles, who failed to qualify for the just concluded 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, also lost their friendlies against Costa Rica and Portugal last month. Brazil remained the number one ranked team in the world despite exiting the World Cup at the quarterfinal stage. Recently crowned world champions Argentina moved to the second position in the ranking. This and that last sports story ends the world news from BGI TV this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. Drug abuse, FG ought to declare state of emergency. 8 months withheld salary, ASU may consider legal action against FG. We also brought to you police ban Christmas, New Year street carnivals in Oshun. And to the last sports story, Super Eagles dropped 3 places in the latest FIFA ranking. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Babagbagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na na na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.